Coming up on Citrus TV News, it's not quite Newhouse 4, but a new addition is coming to the School of Communications.
And a crowdsourced document sent to Syracuse University students via an anonymous email accuses 3 current professors of sexual misconduct. Citrus TV's James Groh is in studio with more details on those accusations.
And a decision was made in the case against the widow of the Pulse nightclub gunman. We'll have more on the charges and the verdict. Citrus TV News starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Video production has changed greatly since the Newhouse edit space was built, and the school believes it's time for a massive upgrade. Good evening, I'm Nicole DeMentri.
And I'm No Eagle. Expansion plans are underway that will add new classrooms, edit bays, and audio recording spaces to the facility.
Citrus TV reporter Brendan Tierney joins us live from outside of Newhouse 2, where the addition will be built. Brendan?
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, the Newhouse School was founded over 50 years ago with one building designed by I.M. Pei and dedicated by President Johnson. Since then, the building has grown to a 3-complex building, most recently with Dick Clark Studios added onto the front of Newhouse 2. Now plans are in the works to build a next building of the complex, right here, underground, outside by food.com. This is a story you'll only see on Citrus TV. 2016 has led to official plans to move Newhouse 2's edit suites into a completely new space. Susan Nash says schematic plans will be created within the next 3 months to form a formal proposal.
The need is critical enough that we should move as fast as possible because of the state of the facilities on the 4th floor of Newhouse 2. That, you can walk in the edit suites, and while there may be a little bit of activity in there, they're just not set up the way that's needed. It started out as a technology upgrade, and we quickly realized we'd be missing an opportunity if we didn't address the physical environment also.
With formal plans in the works, fundraising must begin. The project was estimated to cost $22 million in 2016. A new university rules say that Newhouse Dean Lorene Branham must have at least 50% of that before construction can begin.
I mean, we don't want to get to the end of design and then have to pause forever. So we're all, rooting for her, that she's going to get the funding needed, and that we'll be able to move into then the next stage, which is fleshing out that design and all the specifics.
Nash says that an aggressive design and construction timeline could break ground in 2019 for the building to be opened for the fall of 2020. She says this addition is critical to the school's success as the current post-production suites are out of date and breaking down.
Everything will finally be up to speed, and I don't think that the school will have any facilities at that point that they need to worry about being on the parade route. And what I mean by that, what prospective students see. I worry right now about prospective students seeing what I call the music recording studio or some of our audio spaces up there. I mean, we have a goal of being preeminent in every area, and right now that's not a word I would use to describe our audio facilities.
Now, Nash says that the Newhouse complex, this new building, will not be called Newhouse 4 because it will not be its own separate entity. Instead, they're trying to create one massive floor with all production space that meets the needs of all departments of the school. Now, to put in reference perspective a little bit, this building, $22 million, isn't that out of absurd. Newhouse 3 cost $31 million back in the mid-2000s, and the Clark Studios cost $18 million in 2014. Reporting live at Newhouse, Brendan Tierney, Citrus TV News. Nicole?
Thanks for that, Brendan. And switching gears now, yesterday, Citrus TV reported that 3 Syracuse University professors were accused of sexual misconduct. Our Citrus TV reporter James Groh has more on the allegations and the university's response.
An anonymously sourced list of men in the architecture industry accuses 3 current Syracuse professors and 3 ex-professors of sexual misconduct.
I wasn't really surprised because these are things that people already know in some sort of way.
The architecture school held a forum addressing the issue with architecture students. Dean Michael Speaks said that he's aware of the list, but isn't taking any action on it because none of the accusations are verifiable.
But the school and the university are agnostic on the piece of information, which is to say, we're not against it, we're not for it. It's a piece of information.
Have you had any of those professors?
Yes.
What did you think? Did you ever expect that from them or anything like that?
Not necessarily. They've all been very nice to me.
So before we get into some questions for you, we just want to reiterate, none of this is verifiable, and this also is a public document. Now, that being said, how many professors and students did you talk to, and what did they have to say?
So I attempted to talk to the three current professors that are on that list. 2, as expected, didn't even respond to me. 1 did, but he refused to talk to me. Now, what's most interesting is that I actually attempted to talk to a lot of students, but all of them refused to talk to me. When I asked them, they kind of recoiled and said, I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. So an unexpected response from students, expected response from the professors.
Now, has the university said anything on this yet?
No. So I was at that forum and I asked, have the professors in question been approached, and if so, what's been said? And they told me no, they haven't been approached. And the reason being is that the document, like we said, is not verifiable, it's not legally binding, and from the university's perspective, they can't approach them because it would be illegal. That's what they told me.
So last quick question for you, is this just an SU issue, or is this colleges across the country?
No, well, the original document was actually created for the national workplace within the entire architecture industry. So it actually started in nationwide and has trickled down into local, and now we're at Syracuse. But no, it's actually a widespread issue across the entire profession.
Thanks so much, James, for all of that reporting, and we will stick with you as more developments continue. Thank you.
Studies program hosted their spring symposium this morning. The event's topics was Inventing the Muslim World and Islamophobia, and featured speakers from UNC Chapel Hill and Rutgers. The event was co-sponsored by multiple SU departments, including history, international relations, and religion. CitrusTV reporter Amber McElrath has all of the details on Inspire.
I think, like we say, 1 out of every 10 people worldwide has asthma, which is more than double the population of the United States. That's a lot of people.
For people suffering from asthma, it's not always convenient to carry around an inhaler. 2 Syracuse students created Inspire as a solution to this problem.
I literally had a couple of asthma attacks on the ferry from running, and so when that was happening, I was just thinking about my product, and I was like, if I had this, that would have happened.
Inspire is a wristband that functions as an asthma inhaler. The bracelet breaks apart to allow the person wearing it to gain access to their medication.
Inspire is convenient and easy to use. So if you're rushing to class in the morning or you really want to go to that big game, you can just clasp it on your wrist and go.
Inspire is reusable and refillable, holding up to 10 doses of the asthma medication albuterol. The engineers of Inspire are hopeful about the future of their product.
I think that we could have a really positive impact on people caring more about their health and caring more about their quality of life, because people don't think that asthma is such a big deal sometimes, but when you have an asthma attack, it's a really big deal.
Looking towards the future, Inspire is hoping to expand to include inhalable insulin, cold medicine, and a variety of other medications. Inspire was chosen to represent Syracuse at the finals of the Atlantic Coast Conference Invention Prize competition on April 5th through 6th. Amber McElrath, CitrusTV News.
Just a really cool story and a really cool product that happened right here on SU's campus. Now, Inspire can win the People's Choice Invention at the ACC Inventure Prize competition. Syracuse students who are interested in voting for the Inspire can watch the competition on TV or stream it online.
Onondaga County has finally revealed who bought the naming rights for the Lakeview Amphitheater. The Syracuse-based healthcare system St. Joseph's Health agreed to buy the $750,000 naming rights to the amphitheater on Onondaga Lake. Now Lakeview will be renamed St. Joseph's Health Amphitheater.
Negotiations for the New York State budget are stalling this morning. Democrats in the Assembly say Brooklyn Senator Sigma Felder is the main reason behind the bill's holdup. Felder supports a measure that ensuring the private schools provide the same education and quality of education as public schools, which the Assembly says is not a budgetary measure. Now, the budget's deadline is tomorrow, and should the Assembly fail to pass a bill, the government will certainly shut down. The New York International Auto Show is taking a new approach to selling cars, taking the driver out of the driver's seat. While self-driving cars have attracted controversy following the first ever fatality a few weeks ago, automakers are hoping similar technology might sell more conventional cars. Safety technology in new cars is a selling point, although these cars will keep humans in control on the road. And Nicole, we're missing our usual weather anchor, Josh Feinblatt, today, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I think we've got a pretty good replacement.
Yeah, I think she's pretty decent. You know, she could be pretty good. And I'm wearing my pink to bring out the spring. So, Anna, do we have any spring coming?
So I'm not too sure about that spring, guys, but today we had the typical Syracuse gray, cloudy skies. Not a lot of the rain that we were seeing last night, but current conditions we're seeing 38 degrees, but we do have that 12-mile-per-hour wind, making it feel quite a bit chillier than it actually is, and we do still have a low chance of rain, so if you're heading out, definitely want to grab a jacket and maybe an umbrella. Current temperatures around the area pretty similar to what we're seeing here, 40 degrees up in Fulton, and tonight we're dropping down to a low of 27 degrees, and we do have a little bit higher chance of rain, and that's still pretty big 13-mile-per-hour wind. These are weekend temperatures. I'll tell you more in my full weather forecast.
Coming up, following a day of protest, independent autopsy results are out, revealing the details of Stephen Clark's death, what the results show, and what the family has to say.
And moving overseas, protests turn deadly as Israelis and Palestinians clash at the Gaza border. Don't go anywhere.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the CitrusTV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet @CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
The widow of the Orlando Pulse nightclub gunman was acquitted this morning in a federal court. Noor Salman was visibly shaken after the verdict was read.
She was facing charges on providing material support to a terrorist organization and obstruction of justice. Her husband killed 49 and injured more than 50 after opening fire at Pulse nightclub in June 2016.
Salman was arrested in January 2017, on suspicion that she aided her husband ahead of the attack.
Over 200 student protesters have taken control of Howard University's administration building following accusations that the university employees, quote, double-dipped on financial aid. The protest comes after it was revealed employees used financial and aid and funding inappropriately over a 9-year span.
The students refuse to leave until their demands are met, which includes the university president's resignation. Now only those with a valid student ID are being allowed into the building.
University President Wayne A.I. Frederick wrote in a statement that he hears students' demands and is, quote, committed to being responsive to their needs.
Lawyers for the Stephen Clark family released the findings of an independent autopsy Friday morning. Dr. Bennett Amalu stated that Clark was shot a total of 8 times, 6 in his back, 1 on his side, and another in his left thigh.
The 22-year-old was shot on March 18th by Sacramento police after responding to a 911 call about a man who broke car windows. Officers claim they shot Clark because they believed he was holding a weapon.
But that weapon they thought it was just a phone. Protests have broken out across the city the past week, and the county's autopsy report is still pending.
Protests at the Gaza-Israel border have turned deadly. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, at least 12 people have been killed and 750 are wounded from Israeli gunfire.
Palestinians have pitched 5 camps near the border in protest, which has been dubbed the Great March of the Return.
They are demanding that refugees be allowed to return to their homes that are now in Israel.
The official campaign season for the Mexican presidency kicks off today, and this election season is one of the most highly anticipated in the country's history. Talking Points analyst Jack Watson has more in studio. Jack?
Thanks, Noah and Nicole. This summer, voters in Mexico have the opportunity to choose their country's new leadership, and official campaigning starts today. Mexico will vote for a new president, as well as 500 new members in the Chamber of Deputies, which is the lower house of Mexican Congress, akin to the American House of Representatives. 128 spots in the Mexican Senate are also open. Some of the top issues going into the election are international trade, rising violent crime, and economic inequality. One of the big names to watch is Andrés Manuel López Obrador with the National Regeneration Movement, who some have described as a populist. Another is National Action Party candidate Ricardo Anaya Cortez, who has campaigned on ending corruption in the Mexican government. Mexican voters will take to the polls on July 1st to decide who will lead its government, and all that starts today.
Thanks so much, Jack. Coming up on Citrus TV News, we have our fantastic weather anchor, Anna Azallion, back in studio for her full weather forecast. That's something you don't want to miss, so don't go anywhere.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. Temperatures tomorrow are pretty similar to today, but a little bit warmer, but we do still have that wind that's gonna make it feel chillier than it actually is. So 9 a.m. 35 degrees, but it'll probably feel high 20s, warming up throughout the day. And looking at allergies, for those who do suffer from allergies, it is March, it is kind of spring here in Syracuse, but the pollen has not quite caught up, so good news for those allergy sufferers out there. And looking at our radar, no rain yet, but we do have some rain moving in from the north. That'll hit in the middle of tomorrow night, so nothing really tomorrow to worry about. But if you are going to be out late tomorrow night, you do want to keep an eye on that. And taking a look at our 5-day forecast, we are seeing temperatures pretty similar to what we're seeing now, kind of warming up tomorrow and staying steady throughout the week. Early into next week, we are seeing possibly some rain and snow, and we'll keep you updated on how likely that snow really is.
Coming up in sports, the SU men's lacrosse team looks to stay perfect in ACC play tomorrow against Notre Dame. Plus, the women's team returns home after nearly 3 weeks on the road. Stay with us.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
And now, your CitrusTV Sports Report.
Welcome back. I'm Jonathan Hoppy. The Syracuse men's lacrosse team has had its fair share of ups and downs this season, but the quality of their opponents has stayed the same. The Orange faces its 7th straight top 25 team tomorrow when Notre Dame visits the Carrier Dome. SU was just 2-2 at home this season, but a perfect 2-0 in ACC games. The number 6 Fighting Irish come into the game at 5-2 and are tied with SU for first place in the ACC. Syracuse was able to practice in the Dome all week long, and head coach John Desko says that could help them stay atop the standings.
Previous games, we really haven't practiced much in the Dome, and when you take away our fall, and we purposely try to practice in the Dome in the fall, not all the time, but enough to get our younger guys a look in there. They're coming, our younger guys haven't been in the Carrier Dome very much, so to have this week of practice, we're hoping they'll be more familiar with the surroundings and the stands and the lights and having a background.
Now, last year when Syracuse and Notre Dame met in South Bend, Syracuse escaped with an 11-10 win. No matter what the outcome is this time around, we'll be breaking it down on Orange Press Pass. Catch our crew tomorrow on Orange Television Network at 9 o'clock for all the highlights and analysis. It's home sweet home for the women's lacrosse team, who returns to the Carrier Dome for the first time in nearly 3 weeks tomorrow. The Orange went 3-2 on its 5-game road trip, but lost the only conference game of the trip against Notre Dame. The Orange has let up more than 11 goals in each of its past 3 games, and head coach Gary Gates says goalie Asa Goldstock might be trying to do a bit too much.
She provided them with a few more opportunities to get shots on her herself, just by trying to do a little bit too much, rather just giving up the easy pass, trying to make the long ball. Sometimes you got to make better decisions, just pass it off short and let the team clear it, and let them play some offense, get a rest, and then you get a better shot of making the save the next time.
The women's lacrosse team has been on the road for a while, but not nearly as long as the softball team has. Syracuse opens up its home schedule against Boston College tomorrow after 28 straight games on the road. The Orange is winless in 5 games against the Eagles over the past 2 seasons, but SU has 2 chances to change that tomorrow. Game 1 of the doubleheader starts at 1 o'clock at Skytop Softball Stadium. Former Syracuse commit Darius Baisley's decision to skip college for the G League is making national headlines. Kansas head coach Bill Self says he'd be fine with players going straight to the NBA, but isn't a fan of going straight to the G League.
I do believe kids should be able to go out of high school. I don't believe that they should be able to go to the G League out of high school. To me, putting themselves in a situation in the G League where they're not eligible to be an NBA player, there'll be a percentage of kids that make that decision, whether it be academic, whether it be whatever decisions, that will never ever experience being an NBA basketball player.
Baisley's decision is on the minds of Syracuse fans everywhere, but it's the least of Self's worries. His Jayhawks face the Villanova Wildcats tomorrow in the Final Four down in San Antonio. Before those teams fight for a spot in the title game, the Loyola Chicago Ramblers take on the Michigan Wolverines. The Ramblers, led by international sensation Sister Jean, haven't been to the Final Four since Lyndon B. Johnson was in the White House back in 1963. They'll have their hands full, though, with a Michigan team that hasn't lost since early February. On the diamond, the New York Yankees are back. The Bombers look for their 2nd straight win to start the season tonight in Toronto against the Blue Jays. Masahiro Tanaka makes his season debut in the game, and Giancarlo Stanton is back in the lineup after hitting a home run in his first ever at bat as a Yankee yesterday.
Pretty good stuff from the Yankees so far this season, right?
I don't know. I'm a Phillies fan, so, you know, I'm not sure if we even won or lost.
So a walk-off loss for the Phillies yesterday.
Well, maybe I'm not a Philly fan today. But going back to Baisley for a second, what is that going to do for SU's team next year?
Well, it certainly hurts them when you lose a top 10 recruit, the best recruit since Carmelo Anthony came to Syracuse, and he's not going to be an Orange, but they do have some players coming. Elijah Hughes, watch out for him. He sat out this season after transferring from East Carolina. I really think he's going to step up and be productive and sort of fill the void of Baisley next season.
Super quick, yes or no, does Sister Jean get Loyola Chicago to the national championship?
I don't
First
think
11
so.
seed ever?
I don't think so. I think her and the Ramblers' run is over.
All right, fair enough. Jonathan, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Citrus TV News will be right back.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Okay, so Anna, Josh is your mentor, but we have a question for you.
I would like you to make your case. Why are you a better weather anchor than Josh?
Yes.
You know, every week he makes his Uber predictions, his, ride share surge predictions. I'm just not sure that's part of the weather there. I told you about allergies. I think we all care about that a little bit more.
I know who my choice is for sure. Thanks so much, Anna. Hope you can come back. But that's all the time we have for Citrus TV News. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for continuous updates on all your breaking news. I'm No Eagle.
And I'm Nicole DeMentri. For all of us here at Citrus TV News, have a wonderful evening, Syracuse.